Hello, this is the instructional video on how to set up and use your day trading GPS futures CFDs daily key levels indicator. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is look at the user control panel. So we come up here to settings and open up the user control panel. And the first thing you're going to see when you open up the user control panel is you're going to see two information boxes at the top. So the first one on the very top is some general information about the indicator. And the second one is a list of compatible future symbols and CFD symbols. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is just go through these two information boxes before we move on to how to set up your indicator and also look at the different features. Okay, so the first box here, just general information about the indicator. This day trading GPS future CFDs daily key levels indicator generates key daily trading levels for specific future symbols and CFD symbols only, and is not for use on any other types of securities such as stocks, ETFs, Forex, crypto, indices, etc. Please see the additional info section in the user control panel for a list of compatible future CFD futures and CFD symbols, and that would be here. So as far as stocks, ETFs, Forex, crypto indices, we have other daily key levels indicators for those security types, and we invite you to take a look at those for your consideration if you also trade those other security types. Okay, so first thing, please note that you need to subscribe to real-time quotes on TradingView for futures and CFDs, and set your chart settings to ETH, which for these symbols either stands for electronic trading hours or extended trading hours, depending on the symbol you're on, for the indicator to work properly. So that would be down here. This is the NASDAQ futures. So here, this stands for ETH, stands for electronic trading hours. As you can see, we have also RTH, regular trading hours. So you need to make sure it is set to ETH, which, depending on the symbol you're on, either stands for electronic trading hours or extended trading hours. Please contact TradingView to make sure you have the correct real-time data subscription for the specific futures and or CFD symbols you wish to use the indicator with. Okay, so this indicator is for day trading and is designed to work on specific chart time frames of 1 hour or less. So please set your chart to a time frame that is at least 1 minute or at the most 60 minutes, the hourly time frame. The indicator generates a daily bull-bear key price level, bullish above and bearish below, and daily key support resistance levels for the applicable session you choose each trading day at different EST New York trading times, depending on what session you set the indicator to. So that would be here. You have three: the London session, the New York RTH session, and the Asia session. If you set it to the London session, the indicator generates the daily bull-bear key price level and daily key support resistance levels applicable for this session each trading day the market is open at approximately 1 a.m. Eastern New York time. New York RTH session, the indicator generates the daily bull-bear key price level and daily key support resistance levels applicable for this session each trading day the market is open at approximately 9 a.m. Eastern New York time. The Asia session, the indicator generates the daily bull-bear key price level and daily key support resistance levels applicable for this session each trading day the market is open at approximately 6 p.m. Eastern New York time. Please keep in mind that new levels are generated each trading day for each session, London, New York, and Asia, and the levels that are generated are for use for that trading day, as new levels will be generated the following trading day. So for example, Levels that are generated on Monday, June 10th, 2024 at 9 a.m. Eastern New York time for the New York RTH session are for use with that day's trading session, Monday, June 10th, 2024. The following day, Tuesday, June 11th, 2024 at 9 a.m. Eastern New York time, new levels for the New York RTH session will be generated for use with that day's session, Tuesday, June 11th, 2024, and so on and so forth. So which session to choose? Of course, you can use all the different sessions if you're a trader that trades throughout the day and night. Uh, it just really just depends on when you start trading and when you're going to be trading through generally. So, for example, I trade, for example, the NASDAQ and the S&P 500. A lot of times I'll trade in the night starting with the London session and also trade the New York pre-market session, which is generally, from about 7 a.m. up to the session open of 9:30, and then I'll also trade the initial opening 9:30 to maybe 10:30 or 11. So since I'm trading primarily starting in the pre-market and also the London session, then I'm going to typically select the London session for my levels. So a point just to keep in mind is that if you're going to trade like the pre-market of the U.S. session, uh, then you would use the London session levels because those are going to be applicable leading up to the 9:30 open of the New York RTH session. And obviously, if you're someone that trades overnight with the London pre-market and the London RTH session, etc., and that's your primarily what your focus is, then you would obviously want to use the London trading session levels. However, if you're just a trader that likes to trade the New York RTH Open starting at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, and you're trading primarily just the session that whatever time frame in the session starting at 9:30, whether you're just trading 9:30 to lunchtime or you're trading 9:30 a.m. all the way to the 4 p.m. RTH close, then you would use the New York levels. If you're the kind of trader that likes to trade for example, on NASDAQ and S&P 500, you like to trade the Globex session and the Asia session, then you would want to use the Asia session bull bear key price level and support resistance levels. But you can certainly, flip between all three of them and just find what works for you. Every trader's different, so you just need to find what levels work best for you for the times that you like to trade. Okay, so moving on here, list of compatible future symbols and CFD symbols. So first you'll see a list of the compatible future symbols, which includes most of the major symbols that most traders trade. And underneath that, you'll see the same symbols again with descriptions in case you're not familiar with some of these symbols here. Then there's a description which will also tell you what they are. So as you can see here, we have S&P 500, micro S&P 500, NASDAQ, micro NASDAQ, Bitcoin, micro Bitcoin, Ethereum, micro Ethereum, Dow Jones, micro Dow Jones, Russell 2000 futures, micro Russells, VIX volatility, US dollar index, crude oil, micro oil, gold, micro gold, palladium, platinum, silver, micro silver, copper, natural gas, gasoline futures, wheat, corn, soybean oil, treasury bond futures, 10-year T-note, 5-year T-note, Nikkei, USD futures, Australian dollar futures, British pound futures, Canadian dollar futures, Euro FX, Japanese yen, New Zealand, and Swiss franc futures. Now, if you trade on Forex and don't trade futures, and you're trading through a Forex broker and you're trading these indices, then here's the list of compatible CFD symbols. And then here below that is a list of the compatible CFD symbols with descriptions. So if you try to use this on a future symbol that is not on this list, then you will see a disclaimer that you need to look at the compatible futures in CFD's list and put it on one of those symbols. All right, so moving on, we already went through the select session. Now with display levels, the default is that there's 6 levels. So you have 6 support levels, 6 resistance levels, and the bull bear key price level. That is the default setting. You can, of course, enable more levels, up to 10 levels, if you're dealing with a very volatile symbol. We're dealing with some major news events where we have extreme ranges for that day, or if you happen to see that whatever symbol you're trading happens to break above R6 or break below S6, you can certainly go back and just turn on the additional levels uh, to see what those are for that particular day. You can also uncheck certain levels as well if you're the kind of trader that really only concerned with, say, levels 1 through 3, then of course you don't have to use the default. You can certainly turn those off. So what you need to keep in mind is whatever is checked and unchecked here needs to match also what is down here. So as you can see, S1 through S6 is checked, R1 through R6 is checked, when levels 1 through 6 are checked up here. So for example, if you only wanted to see the first 3 levels and you unchecked all those, then you simply come down here and uncheck 4, 5, and 6 here, and 4, 5, and 6 here. And then you'll just see, uh, a shorter range. If you wanted to see all 10 levels, or you just wanted to see 7 as an example, or 8, if you want to see all of the first 8 levels, and you just make sure that 1 through 8 are checked here, and 1 through 8 are checked here. You may have noticed here this table display for price levels. This table display is optional. By default, it is on. You can certainly turn it off. It just really adds another way you can see the levels where, for example, if you didn't want to have these line labels here, but you still wanted to have a reference point as to which level is which, you could have the table display, which we'll go into later, how you can control this and can also control the size and where this is located on the chart if you do want to display it. But just going back here, we'll just put this on the default again. Okay, moving on, we have the bull bear key price level display settings. So that would be for here, this line here. So there's a drop down menu, and you'll see the first one is the default, display full text with session name and date. So that will give you the symbol, the date, the session for that these levels are applicable for, and the bull bear KPL and the price. The next option is display full text without session name. If we do that, you're basically going to get the same information without the session name, and this will just condenses this down to save chart real estate if you prefer that. So the reason for this is here gives you another reminder of what these session levels are for, which session these are for. If you don't need to keep reminding yourself of that, you can certainly just use this one. Or if you want to make it even more abbreviated, if you do want to have these displayed, you can go down to display abbreviated text without session name or date. And that's what that would look like, and that would be more in line with the width of these. So it really just depends on what you want. As a default, though, it is default with the full text. So here we have that you can control the color. All these are the default colors. Here you're controlling the color of the KPL line, the width, which is currently set to 2, and the line style, which is solid. Here you can individually control the color, width, and line style for each of the resistance lines, and then also the support lines. All right, so here we have midpoint lines and midpoint labels. So midpoints can be important as far as looking at the possibility of a continuation of a move in a single direction. So typically, if you're going to see something move past the midpoint level, it's typically going to go most times to the next level below or next level above, depending on whether it's a bearish or bullish move. So if you want to enable midpoint lines and midpoint labels, you simply enable those. And then you would enable which levels that you would like them for. Here we'll just go ahead and do all of them. And as you can see here, we have both the main levels displayed and the midpoints. The midpoint line labels have the name of the midpoint label. For example, this is mid R2, R3, along with the price. You can also control the color, width, line style of the midpoint. Now, if you come down here, I'm going to show you that you can also change the size and individually control the size of the main line label text and the midpoint line label text. So right now, I have main line label text set to large and the midpoint set to normal. If, for example, I change the main levels back to normal, then this is what it would look like. This gives you more control over how exactly you'd like for them to look, either making them both the same size or making them different sizes depending on what sort of visual that you would prefer. Now, if you don't want to see, you just want to know where the midpoint lines are, and you don't necessarily want the labels on, then you can certainly just turn off this check. In this way, you just have a reference point as to where the midpoints are, but not having additional text to take up on your chart. All right, so I'm going to go back and set these back to large. Also keep in mind, if you're going to have the line labels on, it's really a function of what you have your browser zoom set to. So obviously you have this set on a much larger, like I have it on 110%. If I had this set on a much larger than 110%, then I may not want to use large here. It just really depends on what combination of display settings that you like, but this gives you the flexibility to, like I said, individually control main line label text versus midpoint line label text if you're going to display them. Now, you don't have to display them at all. You could certainly turn off line labels. And you could simply go by the color coding over here once you get to know the levels. And you could simply go by that. If, for example, you have other indicators on here that you're also using, or you just want to save chart real estate. You can also use this function down here in TradingView to put them on the price axis label. So if you do this, there's no line labels because they're turned off, but they are on the price axis label. So it really, again, just depends on your preference. I'm going to go back and turn them on again. Now here we have the line label offset. So the line label offset, a positive number moves the line labels further away from the current price action. A smaller number or a negative number moves them to the left, and a positive number or a larger positive number moves them more to the right, away. So for example, let's go ahead and we'll put this on the abbreviated, just so it's more in line with here, because it's going to go by the center point of these labels as far as the offset. So just to demonstrate this, if you go here and let's say I put it on 0, then it's going to move it to where the middle is right in line with the current price action. If, for example, I put this on a negative number, say negative 20, it's going to move it more this way. If I put it on a positive number, and let's say positive 30, then it's going to move it 30 away from the current price action. So when you have this set here, so as you can see right now we have it on abbreviated. So they're more along the size of the width of these other ones here. But if I display full text, this one becomes pretty long. And so, at least for me, I'd want to set this, like for example, this is set on 30 and moves it away so I can see what it is. If I put this back on 0, then this is going to be more in line here, even though these are away. This part will be more to the left. Okay, next we have line extension options. So the default is that they're extended in both directions, left and right. If you come down here and let's say you want to go right only, then it's just going to extend them to the right only. Or if you wanted left only, then that would be left only. Like I said, the default is both. Just really depends on your preference. Now here we have historical settings. Now these can be useful as far as showing you previous levels and how, for example, this is traded in previous recent sessions as far as how many levels it may go above or below the bull bear key price level during the session to give you some idea of the extended ranges. And show historical bull bear key price level can give you important inflection points to keep in mind for price moving in today's session towards and getting close to previous bull bear key price levels, which can be important inflection points to be aware of when it's approaching, if it happens to approach that during the current session. So if you are going to use these, you just want to make sure that you have your line extension set correctly. So for example, if you're going to use only historical bull bear key price level, then you could use it on both or for right only extension. If you're also going to show historical resistance and support levels, then in most cases you just want to use this on right extension only to get the proper look, which I'll demonstrate for you now. So first off, I'll just show you historical bull bear key price level. And of course, here's the one for today, and this is the one for yesterday's session. Here's the one for 2 days ago, 3 days ago, and so on and so forth. If we zoom out, say to an hourly, then this also gives you another idea here. If you wanted to use it on right only, and you're just seeing the historical bull bear, then this is how that would look. Now, as I said, if you're going to use historical R&S levels as well, then you would want to keep it on right only. So let's say if we go down to a 15-minute, this can give you an idea of the recent price action in previous sessions. And you can look back and you can get a general idea of how price is moving on particular previous days in relationship with that. You can also get an idea of where it may be returning or breaking through or breaking down from previous support and resistance levels as well. So just to show you, if you try to use this on where you have both, it's just going to look a little bit more confusing because it's going to take the current day and extend the current day lines left and right. So that's what I was saying. If you want to use this particular feature, which could be a very beneficial feature for research and other ways as far as trade management and also looking at what your trade plan might be, then you just want to use it for right only. However, if you don't want to show the historical RNS levels and you just want to show the historical bull bear key price level, then either right only or both. All right, so moving on here. Next is the display price level table, which is this here. This is optional. It is displayed by default. It's really up to you whether you want to display it or not. You could, for example, choose to. Oh, sorry about that. For example, if you didn't want to have the line labels displayed at all, but you did want to, even though they are over here, and you can generally tell what they are after you have been using this a while, and you still want to know, you want to have another reference on the chart for that, and you could do that. It really depends on what else you're using on your chart and how much chart real estate you want to take up. But if you are going to display this, now you can certainly turn this off and it's not going to be displayed at all. If you do have it displayed, you can choose what position it is. Here, the default is bottom left. You can move it to bottom center. Top center. All right, well, you get the general idea with that. So you have top right, top center, top left, bottom center, bottom right. And you also can change the text size. Auto is basically normal. You could have it on small. This would be large. We'll go back to auto here. This table is also dynamic. So what that means is that if, for example, I have more levels enabled, like I say, I have all 10, just to show this, I don't need to go down and turn on these other ones right now. As far as the expansion. All right, so if we have 1 through 10, you're going to see 1 through 10 here. Remember that you do need to turn these on or else it'll display a none. So you have to still turn on these here in order to display the levels if you're going to change them to all 10 up here. Conversely, if I only say have the first 2 levels, then this table is going to contract and adjust to only show those. All right, so we're going to go back and turn on display line labels. We'll go back and make this abbreviated for right now. And we'll go ahead and turn this off. So now we'll look at another feature, which is zone shading. Zone shading is listed here. A lot of people like to use zone shading to create a contrast on their chart. These are the zone shading default colors. We'll go ahead and just turn these on to show you. Okay, so the zone shading, as you can see, creates a nice contrast. It just really depends on what color combinations you like, how you like your chart to look, etc. But that is a feature that's built in, and you can individually control which zones you're on. So let's just say, for example, you only wanted to show the first two zones here as far as shading. It's what to display a breakout or break down below or break above. With no shading, you could certainly do that. It just really depends on how exactly you like for it to look. My particular preference is that if I am going to use zone shading, that I have them turned on for all the zones that I'm actually displaying. As I said, you can individually control the colors for all these. These are all the default colors. All right, so now we're just going to look at the levels themselves. So as we can see, this was for the New York session on Friday, November 15th. And we'll go ahead and just turn off the zones for right now. So these levels are displayed at 9 a.m. So at 9 a.m. here, this is a 15-minute chart. Okay, so here's the 8:45 candle here, and then here's the 9 o'clock candle. So the levels will be displayed at the close of this 8:45 15-minute candle at 9 a.m. So we have bullish above this level and bearish below this level. So as you can see, the next candle, 9 to 9:15, it tried to move up, it fell short of touching this level, fell back down and closed, and then we have the 9:15 and then the 9:30. But as you can see, price is moving down. You got the levels back here at the close of this candle, and as you can see, moves down to this S1, then moves down to S2, and then we get a move down to S3, and then eventually we get a move down to S4 later in the day, with it finally bottoming out, as you can see here, touching and closing right at S4 before trying to make a move back up. And as you can see here, it's, in my view, important to also have the midpoints. Can give you some important momentum information. So here it went down and touched the midpoint, tried to move back above, and then as you see, starts closing below, moves back down to this level. Same thing here, tries to move back up, starts closing below, moves back down to this level. That's on a 15-minute chart. Really depends on what time frame you like to use, but they're useful in all time frames. Now, for example, if you were someone who was trading the London session and you started trading These levels are going to be given at 1 a.m. So we have the 1 a.m. level here, bullish above, bearish below. As you can see here, if you started trading around 1 a.m., you would have been able to ride this nice move down, including into the London session, London pre-market, London RTH, and then eventually the New York session. So again, I was saying at the beginning of the video, it really depends on when you start trading. If you like start trading for London pre-market, London RTH, and you want to use the London levels, and then you would just continue to use those levels to manage your trades into the New York pre-market and even into the New York RTH session. If you're the kind of trader that just starts trading at say 9 a.m. Eastern New York time, then you would want to use the New York RTH levels. And if you're the kind of trader that trades the Asian overnight session, for example, if you look at that, as you can see now this says 11:14 because this would have been for the Asia session levels on Thursday, November 14th, that came out at 6 p.m., which is here. So it's bullish above or bearish below. So not to get bullish unless it breaks above this. If you're starting to trade at 6 p.m. and on, so you can already see. And these can be also, even if you're not trading the Asia session, this can sort of give you an idea of what's already happening in the market. Is it opened below the bull bear key level for the Asia session, and it continued trading lower. So this was already giving you an indication of what was going on, even if you're not trading. So these levels can be very helpful in setting up your other sessions as far as looking at them. Even if you're not trading during those sessions, it can give you a good vantage point to also see what was going on. All right, so I'm going to move back here, change these back to this. All right, so that's going to conclude our instructional video for that. As I said earlier, please keep in mind the list of compatible futures and CFD symbols. And also, if you trade stocks, ETFs, Forex, crypto, indices, etc., we have other daily key levels indicators for those specific symbol types. And we invite you to also take a look at those. I wish you good luck with your trading. And if you have any questions, further questions, you can certainly email us or send us a DM through TradingView. Thank you.